Welcome to today's Explainer. We are jumping right into a global adventure today, and it's actually inspired by a classic story where the beloved bear family takes a trip to the Great Bear Museum. While visiting their friend Dr. Bear, who runs the place, Sister Bear notices something pretty fascinating: models of completely different kinds of bears. And it sparks a really brilliant question. If our bear family walks, talks, and wears clothes, what about all those other bears out in the wild? Well, we are going to find out. So, did you know there are wild bears living everywhere, from the freezing Arctic all the way to the jungles of India? It's kind of incredible to think about. Just imagine traveling across these extreme, drastically different environments to discover just how adaptable bears truly are. I mean, they've evolved some highly specialized traits to survive in literally the harshest and most unique climates on the planet. Okay, let's dive into this. To study these bears, Dr. Bear introduces the family to this amazing piece of technology. He says to them right this way: "Step into my anywhere, anyplace machine. This machine can take us anywhere in the world." He pushes a button, the room starts to spin, and just like that, they leave this civilized world of walking, talking bears to go study wild bears in their natural habitats. And we are going to use that exact same itinerary to guide our tour today. All right, first stop on our tour, North America and the Arctic. The spinning stops and bam, the family finds themselves in a lush mountain meadow in North America, face to face with a close cousin, the grizzly bear. Now, you might be wondering about the name. Grizzly actually refers directly to their coat. It means a mixture of light and dark fur, though they're also commonly known as brown bears. Up in these mountain meadows, you'll find wild mama bears and their little cubs happily munching on ripe berries, perfectly adapted to forage in this temperate environment. Dr. Bear pushes the button again, and suddenly, whoa, it gets freezing cold. They've arrived at the Arctic Ocean and Greenland. This is where the polar bear lives, among the ice and snow, and it perfectly illustrates an absolutely brilliant survival strategy. Polar bears are completely white except for their black noses. This camouflage allows them to seamlessly blend into their snowy surroundings, which is absolutely crucial for survival when they're out hunting seals on the ice. Moving right along, let's check out the amazing bears of Asia. So we hit the button again, and across the Asian continent, we encounter the highest diversity of bears in our story. 4 incredibly distinct types: the Asian black bear, the sloth bear, the giant panda, and the sun bear. We're going to bounce from the high, cold mountains down to the forests of India, over to China, and finally deep into the southern jungles to see exactly how these forests survive in such drastically different habitats. What's really fascinating here is the stark, kind of funny contrast in their diets. First, over in the forest of India, the shaggy sloth bear uses incredibly sharp claws to literally rip open ant nests. Then, they use this really long tongue to lap up the bugs. Yucko, right? But it's a highly specialized way to forage. Now compare that to the rare giant panda in China. While most bears are omnivores, meaning they eat lots of different things, the black and white giant panda has evolved into an extreme specialist, eating strictly the bamboo plant. It's a massive difference in evolutionary adaptation. And beyond their diets, these Asian bears also have these striking visual adaptations right on their chests. Up in the cold, high mountains, the Asian black bear sports this distinct, bright patch of white fur. But if we travel down to the hot, dense jungles of southern Asia, we find the sun bear. It gets its name directly from this beautiful, bright golden mark on its chest. It's a brilliant example of how geographic separation creates totally unique physical traits. Actually, speaking of the sun bear, fun fact, it is the smallest of all the bears. Just put that into perspective for a second. Think about how drastically different this tiny jungle bear is from that massive heavy polar bear we saw navigating the Arctic sea ice just a few minutes ago. It perfectly illustrates how an animal's environment shapes its size and survival traits over thousands of years. Next up, a quick stop in South America. Our guide, Dr. Bear, spins the machine down to the southern hemisphere to meet a bear with a very unique and somewhat hard to say name, the spectacled bear. It lives in South America, and it's named for a distinct ring of light fur that circles its eyes. This marking makes the bear look exactly like it's wearing a pair of glasses, or spectacles. So whenever you think of South American bears, just picture a bear wearing spectacles out in the wild. It's a really incredible visual marker for sure. And finally, Section 4, bringing the tour home. Back here in North America, to look at our final wild bear, we have our neighbors, the black bears. Now, despite the name, their fur isn't always perfectly black. It can actually be reddish-brown or even lighter in color, which helps them blend into different forest environments. Oh, and they have quite the sweet tooth. Black bears absolutely love honey, which is a classic bear trait that is very much rooted in reality. All right, let's bring this whole shebang together. We've seen 8 completely unique bears today, all wonderfully adapted to their specific corners of the globe. Think about the incredible environmental adaptations we just covered. We shivered in the Arctic with the camouflaged polar bear, and we trekked through dense jungles to find the tiny sun bear. We explored extreme diets, from the bug-eating sloth bear in India to the bamboo-loving giant panda in China. And we saw amazing visual markers, like the light and dark coat of the grizzly, the white chest patch of the Asian black bear, the distinct eye rings of the South American spectacle bear, and of course, our honey-loving neighbor, the black bear. When the bear family finally spun their way back to the Great Bear Museum, Mama Bear said her head was still spinning from the trip. But the cubs, they immediately wanted to go again. So, I'll leave you with this. Which bear's unique adaptation fascinated you the most? And, if you had control of that anywhere, anyplace machine, where in the natural world would you go next? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep exploring, and I'll catch you next time.